Mike Moore Media, the first place to hear Rockingham County news and information.
On our media line, Rodney Cates, Director, Rockingham County Emergency Services 911. We're getting ready for severe winter weather. Rodney, give us an update, please.
As everybody has seen on the news, they're calling for a significant ice event, much more severe than what we saw this past Saturday. They're calling for it to be much more widespread. We are anticipating many more power outages, possibly for a longer period of time, more trees in the roadway, more power lines down. In the morning, the temperatures are going to be 27, 28 degrees. So I think we're probably going to have some slick roads. We really didn't have a lot of slick roads this past weekend because the road temperature and the ground temperature was warm enough to keep that element away. But I don't think we're going to dodge that bullet in the morning. So I think all the elements that we can get from an ice event, and that's what they're saying, that this is going to be primarily a freezing rain event. So I think we are really need to batten down the hatch and get ready for what we're going to see tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, we did escape that last week, that's for sure, but it looks like this one is going to get us. Give us an update on where we are with preparations that you're making. I know you've been in meetings throughout the day getting ready for this, so how is the county prepared?
I feel like they're very prepared, and you're exactly right. I've been in meetings all day, but those meetings have been with a very, very strong group of professionals that have helped make these preparations and have helped put everything in place. We will activate our Emergency Operations Center tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. It'll be staffed with our key staff, and we will bring in other people as needed, depending on what the weather does and how we need to elevate the Emergency Operations Center if needed. Our fire departments are ready to go with their storm plan. They're ready to go to start cutting trees and clearing those roadways and ensuring that the people in their fire districts are safe. Our rescue squads, I've reached out and talked to them today. They are ready and available, again, to assist in any, if trees are to fall on houses or people to be trapped, in any type of situation, they're ready to respond to those as well. Our EMS staff, we have some extra people coming in tomorrow. We will go to what we call a quick response vehicle operation tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Our administrative staff have four-wheel drive trucks, and they will be at the basis. Any type of call in which a transport is not likely to occur, we will send that four-wheel drive truck out, which has all of the gear. It has all of the advanced life support equipment on the truck, should it be needed. But we try to keep those ambulances off the road as much as possible. We don't want them damaged. And it's much more effective to make those responses with a four-wheel drive truck as opposed to those large ambulances.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Our 911 center will be upstaffed tomorrow. We'll have 4 additional people inside the 911 center tomorrow to take the calls for services that come in. So we've made preparations across the board. We've worked with our partners at Health and Human Services on some different things with them. So we feel we're as prepared as we can be. And we just have to wait and see what Mother Nature sends us and respond accordingly.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of plans are already in place, emergency plans when things like this come up, but still a lot of last-minute things pulling it all together, isn't there? It
is. And another thing we did, too, we've already activated a state of emergency. We did that at 5 o'clock today. That enables us to put some restrictions in place. And those restrictions right now are if one sees a barricaded road, if a tree is down, a power line's down. There's also a chance of high water. After this freezing rain event is over, we still could get up to 3 inches of rain. So there's a chance that the rivers could rise. So if there are barricades or barriers that are placed in the roadway, it is a violation of law to go around those, to alter them, to move them, to change them in any way. So the restrictions in place now are not to go around those barriers, to pay attention to what they say and heed the warnings that they are providing. So that goes into effect went into effect at 5 o'clock today and will be in effect until we modify it or rescind it, which will not be over the weekend according to the forecast.
Yeah, okay. People have a hard time in obeying that particular rule for sure, that law. And the rivers are already full.
It is. You're correct. It's already full, and if we get three additional inches of rain, that's going to be problematic too, well on through the weekend and into the early part of next week.
A lot of people concerned about the COVID-19 vaccines, the vaccination centers. That's the weather is affecting that nationwide. Give us an update on that, Rodney, where we are here in our county.
You're exactly correct. Weather does impact that. We don't want people to travel on the roadways if it's not safe to get these vaccinations. There's also, a national delay in the shipment. That has nothing to do with the county, has nothing to do with the state. It's all about how the federal government, we receive COVID vaccinations directly from the manufacturer. They don't come through the state. There's no middle point. They come from the manufacturer to the actual people who do the vaccinations, which for us would be the county. There's a national delay in the shipment of that. I don't know the reason for that, so we have had a delay in shipment, and then the weather on top of that has prompted us to put the COVID vaccines that were scheduled for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of this week off until a later date, and citizens will be notified through the media outlets and or telephone calls or several different methods of when that whole process is rescheduled and how it kicks back off when we're able to do so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. People call 911 sometimes when it's not necessary. In a situation like this, the ice and all of this, when should we call 911?
911 should be called at any time someone perceives an emergent situation. And the reason we use that wording, what one thinks is emergent, the other may not. So if a person perceives an emergent situation, they certainly have the right and the duty to call 911. What people don't need to call 911 for is just to tell us that your power is out. There's nothing 911 can do about your power being out. That's all handled through the power company. It needs to be reported to the power company. Now, if there's a downed line in your yard and it's arcing or it's smoking or there's some type of hazard, then certainly we need to call 911. But just to call us to say, my power just went out, ties up a 911 line, it ties up a 911 telecommunicator. So those are updates. Those are personal updates that we don't really need to know because there's not anything at all the 911 center can or will do about specifically just your power being out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you did say that you've upstaffed the 911 command center, so there will be extra people there when we need them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that we do in the field, all of our responders that respond to calls in the field, cars in the ditch, power lines leaning, trees down, whatever the situation is, they're instructed once they clear the scene and they know that it's a safe environment to leave that scene and go to the next call. They tag it with a piece of tape, maybe crime scene tape, fire scene tape. Usually it's like a banner, a piece of yellow banner that they tie to it, very visible. If a person sees that, that indicates that that has already been called in and reported. There's no need to report it again unless there's, again, something there. If you see a person that maybe has tried to help get a car out of the ditch and then they're injured, then certainly needs to be reported again. But generally speaking, any type of situation that has the yellow banner or some type of tape or something tied to it, that indicates that has already been reported. It's already been checked by responders, and there's no need to report that an additional time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Before we go, what's the best way we can get updated information?
We'll be pushing things out through the webpage. Our Public Information Officer, Mabel Scott, will be pushing things out. Katrina White with Health and Human Services, she's the information officer with them. She'll be pushing information out as well. So the county webpage, the county has a Facebook page. Emergency Services has a Facebook page. And Mike certainly will use you and tap into your resources as well.
Sure.
We also try to put what we can on the news. A lot of people that don't have social media, that don't utilize social media, they watch the news, the 5 o'clock news. So we will certainly work with our media outlets and push that out on the news as much as we can.
Okay. Well, I know you've had a long day, and hope you get a little bit of sleep tonight because you'll be up early in the morning and a long couple of days, Rodney. Thanks to you and your team for your extra work in getting us prepared for this storm.
All righty. Thank you, and we'll continue to update you, and we'll all ride it out together.
You bet. All right. We'll talk again soon when we need to. Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rodney Cates, Director of Rockingham County Emergency Services 911. Yes, we will keep you posted as soon as we get the information that we need to update about any weather situations that you need to know about here in Rockingham County, emergency situations, things that we normally would report on when we have severe weather. You can also go to the county website, and that is myrockingham.county.nc.com.